I bid you all good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. I'm in an unsecured underground location today to broadcast this very important message to you all in the free zone that are catching this transmission in the free zone. And I say, keep fighting forward, and one day Canada will be like it was back in the 80s, and maybe one day things might be better again. So keep fighting the good fight, guys, and keep exposing the criminal acts that are happening. Eventually, somebody might have to pay for this bad business that's going on, and that's basically entrenching the Commonwealth, the Canadian, the Australian, the UKer, and impoverishing people born and raised in their own cities and educated in their own cities. Mike Martin's here fighting the good fight. So what do I have for you guys today? Let's go over to Article Scan. 83 tons of fake gold bars. Gold market rocked by massive China counterfeiting scandal. Woo! Again, China is, what are they doing?
I love China.
But this is nothing surprising. Over the years, we have periodically reported of the occasional gold bar discovered as counterfeit in Manhattan's Diamond District, which instead of containing the yellow precious metal, would be filled with gold-plated tungsten or in some other cases, copper. Tungsten is a better source. The weight ratio is almost there because tungsten's really heavy. Like, try to pick up a tungsten bar the size of this phone. You see what I'm talking about. The news would spark a brief wave of outrage, prompting physical gold holders to run ultrasound spot checks on their inventory, at which point of interest would wane, and why not? Buyer, after all, beware. In gold, as in every other market, and if someone is spending thousands to buy fake gold, well, that's Darwinism in action. So there it is, guys. Coming in from China, 83 tons of fake gold bars. And they get sold online through eBay, Amazon, who knows. Even some banks end up carrying them because some of the banks can't even tell because these forgeries look really good. And who's going to decimate their gold bar when they buy it anyway, when it's packaged, shrink packaged, with one of those little symbols with the serial number? Who's going to do that? Who's going to take that all apart to see if it's phony or not? But you're going to have to do your own spot checks on them, people. Yet one market which seemed stubbornly immune to any counterfeiting was that of the physical gold in China.
Mexico.
No, oops, sorry.
I love China. I love China. I love China.
Which was odd considering that over the past decade, China had emerged as the world's biggest counterfeiter of various, mostly industrial metals used to secure bank loans, better known as ghost collateral. That's horrible, because they're securing bank loans on fake golds. Do you know what that means? And which, adding insult to injury, would frequently be rehypotheticated, meaning often several banks would have claimed the same fake asset. And not only that, guys, I need to bring this to your attention. Chinese gang, selling recycled fake condoms. $7 million scam busted by Chinese police. And basically they were told they couldn't resell the condoms in China. There's no problem selling it anywhere outside of China. Back to what's going on here. All that is about to change with the discovery of what may be one of the biggest gold counterfeiting scandals in recent history. And yes, not only does it involve China, but it emerges from a city has become synonymous for all the scandalous China, Wuhan itself.
I've been watching you for the last couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, I've been watching you.
I've been watching you for the last couple of weeks.
I've been watching you for the last 10 years, buddy. With that preamble in mind, we introduce readers to Wuhan King Gold Jewelry Inc. Right there. Company which, as the name implies, was founded and operates out of Wuhan, which describes itself on its website, a company of a gold future. A company of a gold future, ripping people's lives off. Right there. That's your gold future right there. And let's jump into something. So there's these condoms. What they're doing is they're washing these condoms out with contaminated water. And, they're producing fake condoms, but they're allowed anywhere else except in China. And let's go back here. In retrospect, it probably meant copper future because as a remarkable exposure by Xiangzhan has found more than a dozen Chinese financial institutions, mainly trust companies, i.e. shadow banks, loaned 20 billion yuan, 2.8 billion, over the past 5 years to Wuhan King Gold Jewelry with pure gold as collateral and insurance policies. Woo! To cover losses. There was just one problem. The gold turned out to be gold-plated copper. Yeah, that's actually a pretty big problem, actually, to be,
I've been watching you for the last couple of weeks.
It's...
I love China.
So, yeah, okay. Some more background. King Gold, whose name was probably stolen from Kinross Gold, one of the world's largest gold miners, is the largest privately owned gold processor in central China in Hubei province. Its shares are listed on the Nasdaq and Stock Exchange in New York, although its current market cap of 10 million so far is a far cry from its highs when the company IPO'd open on the Nasdaq in 2010. The company is led by chairman Jai Zhuang, an intimidating ex-military man who is a controlling shareholder. What could go wrong? A lot could go wrong. Well, apparently everything, as at least some 83 tons of gold bars used as loan collateral turned out to be nothing but glitted copper. Hold on.
And I made a lot of money in Atlantic City, and I'm very proud of it.
That has left lenders holding the bag for the remaining 16 billion yuan of loans outstanding against the bogus bars. And the Kai Shan adds the loans were covered by 30 billion yuan of property insurance policies issued by the state insurer PICC, property casualty, and various other smaller insurances. So you guys need to understand there's various level of this, and so these guys are selling condoms and reusing them and shipping them to us. And there's various levels of this, guys, and you need to understand. So what does Canada do in turn when all this stuff is happening? They want more Chinese workers and students. How many? 500,000 per year. And you go to the Stats Can immigration, whatever. It does not show any of this because they are bidding for lucrative students, workers, and businesses to open in Canada. And they are competing with Australia and other countries. I'm surprised they haven't taken this thing down yet. But yes, and what does that mean? Well, what happened with that? Well, Vancouver ranked as world's second least affordable housing market again because of foreign investing and the amount of empty homes. And so has Toronto, so we lost 2 of our major cities. And what does that mean? So what am I bringing this up for? Because it's all this dirty money laundered through. It could start off with the fentanyl, gold, whatever China's exporting or whatever they're holding in their coffers gets relent and redistributed 10 more times, and it ends up in our housing and buying out our locals that are born and raised in their own cities. They can't even buy anything. Yeah! That's a salute right there. But what do Canadian politicians do? They need to keep it going. Here it is. Canada would be in a recession without money laundering. Yes, $200 billion, and this is not layered, typical layering integration. This is $200 billion that makes up for 2.13% of our GDP. That's from 2011 to 2015. They need to shut the money laundering down. They can't keep the money laundering going. They need to keep the money laundering going. They need the investigation to be shut down. And they shut down the investigations against the RCMP's wishes, saying we can't do this, we need to go forward with this. But the Canadian government said no. And no Canadian hires for 4 years in Chinese-owned mine. They do not want to hire Canadians here at this mine, but we sold them our biggest mine. And what happened with no jobs? Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver, tens of thousands of people leaving every year. And the numbers are quadrupling into the 20 to 30, 40,000s. And people like myself are moving into the small towns, right? And we are, bringing up the property prices and bringing up the status, bringing up the competition. I open a small business here, I get this. Every time I get seen by my competition, every time he sees me. Check out the Merit Harassment series. And what happens? Well, more people died in the last month, in the month of June, of opioid overdoses. 170 people died of opioid overdoses in British Columbia. Our youth are dying on the streets. And what does our government do? They go ahead and send $350 to investigate COVID. And then what does that funnel into? What does opioids have to do with China, Mike? All of the China connection, how one DEA agent cracked manufacturers, and how opioids are coming from Canada through China. High-priced Chinese money laundering in Canada through opioid and fentanyl. China won't stop the flood of fentanyl into Canada. Factories, government-owned factories creating fentanyl and destroying and wiping out our youth. Secret police find that a center of money laundering ring of powerful China-based, again, fentanyl imports and trafficking in Canada. So an introduction to fentanyl, making a killing in Canada and wiping out our youth. And Canadian proper does not have a chance if they're born and raised in their own cities, because the depression levels are high and the drugs are cheap and they're flowing through the streets. And yeah. So anyways, back to the gold. So this is all adding up. So all the fakeness gets built up, but it buys our real housing. It wipes out our youth. It wipes out everything. And it's all in the name of money. And I keep telling you guys on the channel, the biggest antichrist on the planet is money.
I've been watching you for the last couple of weeks.
In retrospect, it probably meant copper future. Okay, we read that. We read that. And what could go wrong? Well, apparently everything. At least some 83 tons of gold bars used to loan collateral turned nothing to be glitted copper. We read that. The fake gold came last to light in February when Dungan Trust, one of those infamous Chinese shadow banks, set out to liquidate King Gold collateral to cover defaults in debts. As a report continues, in late 2019, King Gold failed to repay investors in several trust products. To its shock, Dungan Trust said it discovered the gleaming gold bars were actually glitted copper alloy. Yep, the news sent shockwaves through King Gold's creditors. China Miss Hung Trust, another shadow banking company. Oh, mistrust. Oh, no.
The greatest president that God ever created.
Obtained a court order to test collateral before King Gold's debts came due. On May 22nd, the test results returned saying that the bars were sealed in Mishane Trust coffers are also copper alloy. Oh, man. And with authorities investigating how this happened, King Gold chief Jaya Foutley denies that anything is wrong with the collateral his company put up. Well, what else could he say? I love it. I
love China.
As Kai Shan notes, the King Gold's counterfeiting cases echoes China's largest gold loan fraud case unfolding since 2016 in the northwest Xi'an province and neighboring Hunan, where regulators found adulterated gold bars in 19 lenders' coffers, backing 19 billion of yuan loans. That's about 2.5 billion US dollars. That was probably funneled. What else? Because Canada's got $200 billion that they've caught from 2011 to 2015 in laundered money through our real estate, through shadow flipping. In that case, a lender seeking to melt gold collateral found back tungsten plate in the middle of gold bars. In this case, King Gold, the company, said it took out loans against gold to supplement its cash holdings, support business operations, and expand gold reserves. According to public records, it then appears to have decided to apply a gold layer to tons of copper and pretended it was money good gold collateral. And even more shocking, for years, nobody checked the authenticity of the pledged collateral.
I love China.
Yeah, so it's like...
I've been watching you for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so in 2018, the company beat a number of competitors in bidding to buy controlling stake in its in state-owned auto parts maker Tri Ring King Corp. King Gold offered 7 billion yuan in cash for 99.97% of Tri Ring. The Hubei government cited the deal as a model of so-called mixed ownership reform, which seeks to invite private shareholders, non-foreigners though, non-foreigners can't invest in China, into state-owned enterprises. But King Gold has faced problems taking over Tri-Ring's asset amid the series of corruption problems and disputes involving Tri-Ring. Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. After obtaining the test results, Misheng Trust executive said the trust company asked Ajay whether the company fabricated the gold bars. He flatly denied and said it was because some of the gold the company acquired in the early days had low purity.
But we don't know.
Yeah. The executive said in a telephone interview that Kai Shan in early June, Jaya denied that the gold pledged by his company was faked. Yeah! Yeah! Keep buying our housing! Keep everybody homeless! How could it be fake if insurance companies agreed to cover it, he said, and refused to commit further? Well, the answer is simple. The insurance companies were in on the scam, but that's a story for another day. Yeah, that's another story, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Donnie, Don.
In early June, Misheng Trust, Dungan Trust, and a smaller creditor, Ain Chang. Oh, they're throwing in more people. They keep throwing in more and more names.
Congratulations.
Trust filed lawsuits against King Gold and demanded PICC and PNC cover their losses, and PIC and PNC declined to comment. And Kai Shan, on the matter, said the case is in judicial procedure. A source of PICC and PNC told Kai Shan that a claim procedure should be initiated by King Gold as the inspired party rather than financial institution and beneficiaries. King Gold has made a claim, that Kai Shan's source said. So here it is. In total, King Gold pledges tens of thousands of kilograms of gold, no less than 14 creditors, amounting in just under 20 billion yuan. So there's King Gold secured loans over a dozen firms. Holy crap. So there it is. There's the trust. There's Henfeng Bank. There's Dungang Trust. It's all about money. It's all about gold. Oh, yeah. Kai Shan learned that the Hubei province government set up a special task force to oversee the matter. So they're creating money out of thin air to back more counterfeit stuff that has no real intrinsic value. And it is destroying the fabric of... Because the West takes the brunt of this crap. The West takes the brunt of this crap. So this gang selling condoms, fake condoms. They're rewashing and reused condoms. Just want to give you guys an update. So there it is. Kai Shan learned that the Hubei provincial government set up a special task force to oversee the matter, and the Public Security Department launched an investigation. The Shanghai Gold Exchange and Gold Industry Self-Regulated Organization disqualified King Gold as members of last week. Followed by Dugan Trust, the Misheng Trust, and two other creditors also tested pledged gold bars and found they were fake. Kai Shan learned, so everyone's testing their gold bars and they're finding out they're fake. A Dugan Trust employee said his company reported the case to the police on February 27, the day after the testing result was delivered. Demanded 1.3 billion yuan in compensation for PICC and PNC's Hubei branch. Meanwhile, King Gold defaulted on 1.8 billion yuan of loans from Dungan Trust, with the additional 1.6 billion yuan due in July. The 83 tons perpetually pure gold stored in creditors' coffers by King Gold as of June, backing the 16 billion yuan of loans, which would be equivalent to 22% of China's annual gold production. That's a lot. 22% of China's annual gold production they're raping from Africa. Well, this is crazy. And 4.2% of the state gold reserves as 2019. In short, more than 4% of China's official gold reserves may be fake. and this assumed that no other Chinese gold producers and jewelry makers are engaging in similar fraud. Spoiler alert, they are! They are!
When was the last time anybody saw us beating, let's say, China?
Founded in 2002 by GI King Gold, was previously a gold factory in Hubei affiliated with the People's Bank of China that was split off from the central bank during a restructuring. Ooh, I love restructuring, you know what I'm saying? With businesses ranging from gold jewelry, design, manufacturing, and trading, King Gold is one of Canada's largest... China's, sorry, I almost said Canada. Well, it's almost the same country. China's largest gold jewelry manufacturer, according to company website. The company debuted on NASDAQ 2010. The stock currently trades for $1 a piece, giving King Gold market a value of $12 billion, down 70% from a year ago. The company financial reports show that King Gold had $3.3 billion total of assets as the end of September 2019, with liabilities of $2.4 billion. Jai, now 59, served in the military of Wuhan, Guangzhou, and spent 6 years living in Hong Kong. He once managed gold mines owned by People's Liberation Army, which means he likely has connections all the way to the top. Jai is tall, strong. One financial industry source familiar with Jai told Kai Shan that he's imposing a figure and speaks loudly. He is bold, reckless, and eloquent, also making you feel he knows better than you. But that's how it works, guys. You get that political or that military figure fronting everything.
I love China.
And then showing the rest of the world how things should be done and how we are taking this company to the next level. We're going to grow our numbers. Our shareholders are going to double in value and blah, blah, blah. Several trust company sources said Jai is well connected in Hubei, the epicenter of the COVID pandemic, which may explain King Gold's surprise victory in the trial ring deal. But a financial industry source in Hubei said Jai's businesses is not so solid as it may appear. We knew for years that he doesn't have much gold. All he has is copper, said a source who declined to be named. There you go. They know what's happening, but nobody wants to come forward. Why? Because the majority of the money doesn't stay in the country. It gets moved out of the country in huge duffel bags and casinos, and it gets laundered through everything in the West, right? Everything gets built up in China and then gets redistributed, whether they're taking over mines in Africa, and building endless roads of infrastructure that go nowhere, and deforesting Portuguese Africa, Mozambique, in return building them roads that go nowhere and taking all their trees. I wonder where Greta is on this. She needs to weigh in on this, you know what I'm saying? So,
You're not a nice person.
we knew for years that he doesn't have much gold. All he has is copper, said the source. So, yeah.
I fully understand.
Local financial institutions in Hubei have avoided doing business with King Gold, but they don't want to offend him publicly, the source said. Why? Because of his extensive connections with the Chinese army. He explains why most King Gold's creditors are from outside of Hubei. So people outside on the NASDAQ or people on outside are putting their hard-earned money into this. Kai Shan learned from regulatory sources that Mixing Trust is the largest creditor of King Gold with nearly 4.1 billion yuan outstanding of loans, followed by Hang Fang Bank's 3.9 billion yuan, Dungan Gun Trust 3.4 billion yuan, Angsen Trust and Investment Company 1.9 billion yuan, and Sanchin Trust Company 1.8 billion yuan. That's 4% of gold, China's gold reserves, guys. But wait, counterfeiting gold is just the tip of the company's fraud iceberg. Several industries told Chiang that institutions were willing to offer loans to King Gold because Ajay promised to help them dispose of the bad loans. Oh my God. This is like, oh my God.
Just like I promised, right?
Back to here. The gang selling recycled fake condoms. Don't worry, they're not being sold in China. They're being sold all over the Commonwealth. And, man, this thing doesn't end. Holy smokes, this thing does not end. So, guys, if you want to read the whole article, I'm going to leave a link. Oh, no, actually, I can't leave a link, and I'll tell you why I can't leave a link to this. I'll tell you why. because they're going to flag my video when they see a link from our friends over at Zero Hedge. So this is what the article is called. 83 tons of fake gold bars, gold market rocked by massive China counterfeiting scandal. Go ahead and check it out on Zero Hedge, where you can find real news by our man Tyler Durden. Remember what Tyler Durden said? The things that you own end up owning you. And don't make that happen, guys. You know what I'm saying? Don't make that happen. And yeah, China and money are blinding the people. And spreading that wealth around the Commonwealth is what has been destroying people born and raised in Sydney, Australia, Vancouver, Toronto, Los Angeles, Seattle, cannot afford to buy in their own cities. And because of this massive pour of money that's leaving Chinese shores. And where's it all coming from? It's all coming from all this corruption that's happening, you know. I want to show you guys a really quick video that I put up here on the channel, and it explains what's going on here when it comes to a true look of what's happening here. Let me see if I could find it here. I think this is it here. Here it is, guys. This is a very important one. Let's go to article scan, and this is how the wealth gets thrown offshore and frantically moved around the Commonwealth. Foreign buyers overlook Vancouver. Vancouver puts a foreign buyer's tax on because the locals are completely priced out of the markets. Heading to Seattle in frantic pace. Why? Because a bunch of real estate agents in Vancouver went to Seattle and started making contacts there and saying, let's sell up to Seattle, and they did. Now Seattle is looking to tax big corporations in Seattle, blaming them for the affordability levels, when the tech workers or the people that work for these companies, there's 11 of them sharing a one-bedroom in King County in Seattle. And I kind of wanted to throw this out there, and that's what happens. The money gets spilled around. A lot of that money that gets generated does not stay in China because they're gonna ask for it back, right? So it gets thrown into the Commonwealth, and it destroys the fabric of what Canada used to be and what all these countries used to be. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I love you guys. You know what I'm saying? I have no hate against China. I really don't. My ex-girlfriend's Chinese. My wife speaks Chinese. My wife's Filipina. It has nothing to do with me hating. I just want the bad guys to get caught. I want the bad guys to pay for what they're doing. I want the bad guys. You know what I'm saying? I want the bad guys to pay for what they're doing to these to us. If this stayed, if the money and all this flow and all this crap stayed in China, then you know what? Nobody would really care about what they're doing to themselves. But they're doing it to us. They're destroying everything that we've built. The greedy investors. There's a lot of good Chinese, beautiful people out there. I've dated several women from mainland China, and very beautiful, kind-hearted people that I've been with. A lot of good friends that message me and call into the show, and they don't want the whole propagandist machine and the whole money being poured in and destroying what we've built as a country, and what we don't have much anymore. We're not even investing in our infrastructure anymore here in Canada because we're in a frantic pace to bring in more, opening more visa offices to bring in more money. Now it's Hong Kong we're trying to bring in money from, and the game, what happens to the Canadian proper? The people that have come from all over the world in the last 22 decades to build this country, right? Anyways, guys, make sure you know what you're protesting out there when you're on the streets. Make sure, don't, like my dad said, everybody is a case-by-case scenario, Everybody is a case. Every single human being on this planet, whatever color, race, creed, whatever they are, they're a case-by-case scenario. Love everyone until they screw, or until you get to know them or get to figure out what their interests are, realistically. You know what I mean? I don't want to get all philosophical. I love you guys. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon, and share this video and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you.